Got it.
Now let's see if I can get this on YouTube so that I can actually administer things instead of being there's like a whole live interface. Okay, we're going to do this the more difficult way. But now let me also restart the recording just so we have a backup if this should mess up. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our thesis and dissertation live stream both on Zoom and YouTube. I am Sarah Marks. I am the University Library Assistant Director for Communication and User Experience. And with me today, and I'm just going to introduce them and let them take over, we have Russell Perry, who is our Online Services and Reference Coordinator, and Dylan Ryan, who's our Technical Services Associate. And they're going to give you all the information you need to know about submitting your theses or dissertation this and in future semesters. And if you have questions, you can leave them in the YouTube live chat. I will be monitoring that. But if this is after the live stream and you're just rewatching, feel free to leave them in the comments. Someone will be watching those as well. So with that, I'm going to mute myself and let Russell and Dylan take over. Thank you both for doing this today.
Our pleasure. Thanks very much for the introduction, Sarah. So I'm just going to get things started here with our presentation. Just going to share my screen here. Okay. So welcome everybody to our presentation for submitting your thesis or dissertation. So today our plan, we're going to go over the top questions we get at the library about this whole submission process. So just as an overview, we're going to talk about where you find out about deadlines to defend and submit your thesis or dissertation. How do I format a thesis? How do I cite sources? Where can I get help with editing? And how do I submit a thesis or dissertation? So to begin with, we're going to talk about where you find details on deadlines. And for that, I'm going to pass things over to Dylan.
Hi, so just a quick introduction. My name is Dylan Ryan. I am the Technical Services Associate, but as part of that, I am an ETD administrator, which basically means that I am the one who will go through and approve submissions as they are uploaded to ProQuest, which is our service. But for right now, I will show the important dates that we need for grad students. I'm just going to pull that up real quick. I think you have to, yeah, there we go.
It should be all set now.
Yep, okay. So that, see there. Okay, so, and it should be good. Okay, so basically the first thing you want to do when you are sure you're going to be graduating in this semester, you want to look at the graduate calendar. These are on the Office of the Registrar's website. You can just Google UML graduate calendar, and that will be the first result every time. And then this will just give you an overview of all of the important dates. We typically get these in about a year, like 2 semesters ahead of time. So you should be able to know when at the beginning of the semester when the important dates are. The first one that you will need to probably, if you're absolutely going to plan on graduate this semester, would be the last day to submit your DIG form or certificate clearance form if your department requires it. It's not always universal, but it's this semester, it is November 1st, which is only 2 days from now. And then you're also going to want to look for the last day to submit your draft thesis for your dissertation. or thesis. That is so we have enough time to process all of the requests, and then the absolute last deadline date is going to be for this semester, December 1st. And this is the deadline to finalize and submit everything that you have to the library. This will be after you've defended, and like everything is all in order. You got your signatures and everything like that. Yeah, so that's basically like that. So I'll stop sharing now, and then I'll throw it back over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing we want to note too is the date to defend is going to vary depending on your individual department's schedule of presenters. So always check in with them to see when your last date to defend is. So we head back to our presentation. The next category we get questions about is with formatting your thesis. So in particular, it's important to pay attention to the first 5 pages of your document. And by that, we mean the title page, copyright, signature pages, the abstract title page, and the abstract page itself. And we have samples prepared to kind of show you general formatting for that. And we'll show you that in a few minutes. But I also want to talk about how the requirements for kind of your bare bones formatting is going to vary too. Things like headers, margins, the fonts you use. So we have prepared a thesis formatting guide to give you general guidelines for that. But like we're going to say a lot in this presentation, for details like that, you always want to double check with your advisor to make sure you're following protocols for your particular program and their requirements. So for instance, sometimes you might need to format things with LaTeX, and some professors, some advisors, excuse me, may have templates prepared, others may not. So any questions in that, you always want to check in with them first. But if we can exit this for a moment. And if we go to the library homepage, just uml.edu/library, if we go on the left menu here under Ask a Librarian, we have a vast bank of frequently asked questions. So if we enter thesis formatting in the search bar, you can see one of the top hits here is, how do I format my thesis or dissertation? And if we click on that link, you're going to see within this paragraph some links to some of those resources I described to you. So for instance, we have the sample pages linked out here. And you can see, in addition to seeing just how this is laid out, we've got annotations prepared by Dylan that tell you what type of page you're looking at as a sample, along with the specifics for the formatting, the font size, the spacing, all of that. So all those initial pages that you need to check against, you can look at these samples to give you an idea of how to prepare your version when the time comes. And if we backtrack to that same FAQ entry, we've also got a link to the University Thesis Formatting Guide. So if we follow this new link, that will take us to a page where it doesn't give you a visual representation like the sample pages we just saw, but it does walk through all the different elements in great detail. So it's worth going through that, spending some time and seeing what that has to say too. Another common set of questions we get is, how do you cite sources for a thesis or dissertation? So as you're gathering research as part of the process, you're going to be wanting to keep careful notes about your sources. There's the basic information, of course, like the author and title, page numbers, things like that. But you also want to know whether you're making direct quotes for your paper or if you're paraphrasing material from another source. And whatever you do for your research, you want to be sure that you're using the correct citation style for your field. Different subjects prefer different citation styles. So you may be familiar with things like APA style, MLA, IEEE, lots of different other ones. So it's important to check with your advisor to see which style is standard for your particular discipline or field of study. You might also have come across things like auto-generated citations in various databases or other resources. And these can be helpful for a first draft as you're collecting lots and lots of resource in one go. But we always recommend you check those against the style guidelines for your final work, because as an automated system, sometimes things might slip through the cracks, might miss particulars about capitalization or punctuation. And depending on the circumstance, things can be very particular when you're measuring against those standards. So we always recommend you check that. And a good resource to find that information is the Purdue University Online Writing Lab, or OWL. And you can find that pretty easily through Google. If we just swap out over here and we enter in Purdue OWL. And right at the beginning, you're going to see the General Writing Lab. And if we click this link down here, the Purdue Online Writing Lab, once the page loads, you're going to see kind of a welcome statement. And on the left menu, you're going to see this bar for research and citation. And if we click on that, you can see it opens up into all these different options with some of the most popular citation styles, like APA, MLA, Chicago, all these different ones. So whichever one you happen to be using, you can click on the link and it'll give you an overview. And when you click on the formatting and style guide, then it breaks down to the particular details for general citation or citation based on format, whether it's a book, audio visual, electronic resources, all the different types of formats you might come across. You can find the particular citation requirements by browsing through these menus here. So it's a very helpful site to check against when it comes to that element of your thesis or dissertation. So let's say you've got all this squared away, you've got your research cited, you've got your formatting set, but you're not sure about editing your work. Now, by that, we're not talking about the content so much as the actual presentation, whether you're talking about making sure that your writing is clear and concise and direct and able to convey the ideas that you're presenting within your thesis or dissertation. So for that, we have this excellent resource on campus, the UMass Lowell Writing Center. And there are locations on both North and South Campus to help you out. They also have online appointments available where you can just book directly and talk with their experts over Zoom to get answers about how to polish your writing and make it the best that it can be. So you can find it direct by Googling UMass Lowell Writing Center. And if you do, you will get to this homepage here. So you can see it gives you the locations on both campuses if you're going to go in person. And if you scroll down, you can see there's an option to book an appointment. So if you click on that, and then click on schedule an online tutoring session, it'll ask you to log in with your UMass credentials and set up an account. Now, this portal is only available to UMass Lowell students, so we can't show you with our accounts how it looks, but when you do log in, you'll see a grid with different available blocks to set up an appointment. So you can pick which time or day works best for you to set up a consultation with the staff of the Writing Center. Okay, so then ultimately it comes down to submitting your work to the online ATT portal. And that's available through a specific website. We prepared a guide for it. So I'm going to pass things off to Dylan to talk to you more about that element.
Okay. So when you are done, when this is kind of the most overlooked step of the process, but it is very important if you want to graduate on time and get your work published on time. All of our work is published through ProQuest. There is no longer any physical copies being processed in the library. It is all done online. Um, Again, check the graduate academic calendar. Depending on the semester, it will be different, but it is very important that you have the dates in for when you can submit your work. You can submit as early as the beginning of the semester that you plan to graduate in, even if you have not defended yet. You'll always be able to go back and edit or add to your work after the fact, so you don't have to worry about it being 100% when you're uploading. When you do it early, it allows us to have the time to actually like go in and inform you on the changes that you would need to make for formatting and things like that. We have a LibGuide, which I'll be going through in a minute, that you can always have this be able to reference to. Um, you mostly want to start, actually, I'll just start with it now. So yeah, so here, the first thing you want to do is make sure your work is in a PDF format. And it's all together. If you don't know how to do that, there is a way through ProQuest. You can upload different document types, and it will process and turn them into PDFs. Recommend you do it beforehand, just in case there's any like wonky formatting changes that happen because of the conversion. But we can always go back and make those changes, even if they do crop up. Um, so Russell mentioned the first 5 pages are the ones that are important. We do have this link here where you can look and see. I don't think it's up now. And then yeah, they're annotated pages. These would be the first 5 pages that you would have. These are mostly the pages that we will be checking. We don't actually check the content of your submission. There's simply not enough manpower to do that. So we keep it to the opening of your papers. Um, and one other thing, we have to pay this archival fee here. Um, it is not done through ProQuest. It is done through this third-party site here called Flywire. You will have to submit here, and it's $50 per submission, and you pay it through here through Flywire. So if you haven't paid that yet, we will go through and like someone will be in contact with you and ask if you have paid that. Also, like we said, the Declaration of Intent to Graduate form, you will have to have that through if you want to have your degree conferred on the actual graduation date. So we'll start on the next page. There are 3 different publishing options you can choose from initially. And when you're publishing, I should say, you're going through all of these steps in this order. And this is what the website is going to mostly look like. Um, but anyway, back to publishing options. You have 3 options. The first is open access. This costs $95, but it ensures that anyone, anywhere, even if they're not logged in, they don't belong to the University of Massachusetts Lowell systems or anything like that, can freely access your work. Um, that is, that does cost the $95. The second option is traditional publishing, which does not cost anything. This means that people have to purchase the dissertation or thesis if they want access to it. You can, there may also be royalties involved with that. Um, but also people who belong to the university also get access to these as well. The third option, and kind of the most confusing one, is when you want to embargo your work. This can be up to a period of 2 years. Um, you you should not choose the embargo option unless you absolutely are sure that you want that for patent or proprietary purposes. You will need to go through your advisor in your department to do that. So do not just choose embargo if you're like, oh, I want to wait to publish my work. I want it to be published after a year or 2 years. There is a process that needs to go through, and if you choose it right from the get-go, then it will make things a lot more difficult and take much longer for us to go through your submission. And this is basically what the options will be like that. You can choose if you want it to be searchable through Google. And then again, the embargo options are here as well. Um, yeah, and then you will have to agree to the publishing agreement through ProQuest. And then, simply here, you just go through your contact information, a permanent email address. So don't use your UML email address. I mean, you can, but it is recommended you just use a permanent email address you will have access to even after you graduate. Um, and as well as a permanent mailing address for if you get your own personal copies as well. You want to go through and add the deep metadata details for your dissertation or thesis, such as the title, the abstract. This does not replace the abstract in your actual work. This is just on top of it, so it is searchable, through search engines and will show up on ProQuest site. So don't get rid of the actual abstract in your work. This is in addition to that. And then you can uh, add in extra information, what your degree date is, what the degree is, what your department is, the subject category, and then some, up to 6 keywords that would help search, people search for your item, as well as and then you can add in your advisor, supervisor, committee chair, up to 10 people, but I think it's usually about 3 or 4 is the usual one. There's that. And then, like I said earlier, you're going to submit your draft. Um, it says 2 weeks before defending. Um, you can do it even before that. That's perfectly fine. But when your defense date is set, you should take that time right then and there to submit a draft to ProQuest so we can go through and then start the process, and you're already in the system. Um, and then you can make notes, and then we will get those notes, and then we can, make specific changes, and then also make sure, again, it is a PDF. It has to be a PDF, and it can, again, what's the word? It can convert it from other file types if, absolutely necessary. Um, and then it will also prompt you to pay the archival charge again. That's the one I mentioned earlier through Flywire. Um, And then and then this is where you would upload, the next page is where you would upload supplemental files. These are, audio, video spreadsheets that are in your dissertation or thesis. This is in addition to just like the abstract. You want to upload these if you have them. There's that. And then after that, you will have an option to register US copyright. You don't have to do this. This is completely optional. They will go through the whole process for you. I don't remember exactly how much they charge, but it's not a terribly large amount of money. If there's like specific patents or things you're waiting for and you want to make sure this is all squared away, you can do that, but it's completely optional. You don't have to do this. This step 8, where you order your copies, this can be confusing for some people. You have to purchase one copy for your department. You do not do it at this page, though. You can leave this page blank if you do not want a copy. But if you do, it's recommended you purchase it in this space now because it will be cheaper than if you wait until after it is published. And you can choose paperback, you can choose hardcover. Um, and yeah, so if you're just getting the department copy, you can skip this step because it'll come up at the end. And then you just add in your shipping address. They don't charge for shipping. And there's that. So once you're at the end, the very last step for the submission process will be going through, and it'll show you what the charges are if you are doing open publishing, if you are doing, buying your own copies, it'll do that. But the department copy will be here. This is where it'll say that, and this is non-negotiable. You can't take this off or anything like that. It'll just automatically purchase the copy. Um, and then you'll go through and you'll make sure everything's good, and then that's basically the last step in the actual publishing process. It's very simple. Everything's going through in order, and it tells you exact instructions and what it wants. Once you are uploaded, you will always be able to go back and change the actual contents. Like I said, you can even completely replace the copy if you want, which, because they're PDF, you probably will. And add things like your signature page, which you might not have when you at the time of uploading. And that's that's basically it for this end. So
Great. Well, thank you for walking us through that process, Dylan. Just change the window here. Okay, so we know we've thrown a lot of information at you in a very short span of time. So I know, Sarah, do we have any questions on the chat coming through for anything? Or?
We do not have any questions, but I did note that just from my own past experience with helping students as well, not every department does do a declaration of your intent to graduate. So if you've not been told to do that by your professor or your advisors, check in with them to make sure your department does that. We just tell you to do that because that's what the university is asking, but some of the smaller departments don't require that level of formality to move forward. But as far as the drafts and all of those other deadlines go, yes, those are firmer deadlines. Just check with your professors about that declaration to graduate. But I've also put the links, if you're rewatching this on the live stream or you're just watching and you're not asking questions, all the links that both Russell and Dylan have provided you, I have put in the chat and in the video description for replay, so you can easily get to them if you can't remember how they told you to Google it. But everything is discoverable over Google, so you can follow those instructions as well.
Excellent, Sarah. Thank you. And just on this last slide here, we just want to remind you, if you've been watching this and you don't have any questions at the moment, but later there's something that comes up and you want a bit more clarification, you can reach out to us directly. If there's questions about anything with the ETD submission process, you can email etdadmin@uml.edu, and Dylan's happy to answer your questions for that. If you've got other questions, more kind of research-based, or if you're looking to set up appointments or do a live chat, all that is managed through our Ask a Librarian website, which you can access right from the library homepage on that left menu, and or directly at uml.libanswers.com.
All right, thank you both of you for doing this live stream today. We appreciate it, and I know that those who are going to rewatch this will appreciate such a succinct and focused look at what they need to do to get ready for this process, because we get that this is high stress, high anxiety, and we just want to make your lives a little easier. All right, since there are no questions, we're going to end this here. Please, if you're rewatching this, leave your questions in the comments of the video below, and someone will get back to you. But always go to Ask a Librarian. Never hesitate to ask us for help. We are here to support you. And thank you both again for a great workshop.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, the live stream has ended, and